Welcome. I'm Hal Ming with the Center for Food Preservation Arts, and this is a how-to video that we're producing with the EnviroHouse. The Center for Food Preservation Arts, as part of our goals, is to provide information and resources for people who want to learn more about preserving their own food, so hopefully they can be better prepared for emergencies or just make their lives more convenient. So today we're going to be discussing making meals ready to eat that can be done as backpacking, or if in case you have to evacuate during a big emergency, there are things you can throw in a backpack and take off. And the technique that we're going to be using is dehydrating. Because of all the canning techniques, it makes the lightest product, and to reconstitute it takes the least water and energy. So why dehydrate? Well, all molds, bacteria, yeasts need active water to be able to reproduce. When things are properly dehydrated and stored properly in a sealed container, then they will stay shelf-stable for many years. And there is a little loss of some of the nutritional value as compared to freezing, but not enough to make it something that you don't want to be doing. So how do you dehydrate? We're not going to go into big detail because the Center for Food Preservation Arts is developing a whole series of videos on our YouTube channel that go in depth to different parts of the techniques. But today I'm just going to give you an overview. There are the three main ways: the traditional solar, and then ovens, and then dehydrators. Well, in most of the country, especially around up here, you can't rely on the sun enough. So we'll set that one aside. Ovens, you want to, in any dehydrating, you want to keep the temperature below 175. Because with almost all produce, if you go above 175, you start cooking it. And that's a different product than dehydrating. Freeze drying is a form of dehydration. But for home use, although they do have some home freeze-dry units, they're incredibly expensive, and most of us don't want to get into that at this point. When you're looking for dehydrators, there's really two basic types. There's the older type, where the heat and the air comes either from the bottom up or from the top down. And then ones where the heat comes from the back as well as the airflow. The pros and cons: these are usually less expensive. However, because wherever the heat source is, top or bottom, that is going to be dehydrating faster than the trays that are away from it. So you have to be constantly rotating the trays. With these, and I prefer this model, the Excalibur, and it's a little costly, it's over $200, but they are real workhorses. I've had this one and I don't get any kickbacks from them. I've had this one for almost 7 years and use it weekly at a minimum. So the heat and the air come from the back and they flow forward over the trays. And like all of them, have some kind of removable mesh. And then if you were going to be making things like fruit roll-ups or vegetable leathers, they have like Teflon sheets that fit over the top. So all of these need to have a temperature control. And these go anywhere from 95 to just over 155, and it also lays out suggestions for different temperatures to do things at. And this one has a 24-hour timer. Now, we don't run into too many things that require that much time, but it's good to know that you can set it for that. It's suggested you probably don't want to leave it for long periods of time, but certainly, you don't have to sit up and watch it overnight like you would with a pressure canner. So where do you get the produce and things that you dehydrate? Well, There are some things where it is a complicated process because of the oils and proteins that are involved in it. So things like eggs and dairy, they suggest you buy it commercially. Now this is a little more expensive than just going down and buying a dozen eggs, but this is equal to about, I think when I figured it out, it was about 120 eggs in a package. And once you open it, you want to put it in an airtight container and refrigerate it. Then things like meats, usually you can buy them in all different kinds of flavors and in individual packets. And that's the way I go for emergency meals. Now for home dehydration, I have an ideal situation where I have a garden just right out my back door. And just for example, today I picked about 3 pounds of green string beans, which I blanched and froze part of, but I'm also dehydrating part of them. Because you can put things together in individual bulk, like this is slices, potato slices from potatoes that I just grew that have been dehydrated, and they're not like potato chips, they're far more crispy than that, but they make a great potato au gratin. You can also take and grate them up, and you can dehydrate them for hash browns. But then when you have accumulated bulk of a number of these different products, you can put them together. Like for example, this is a mixed bean and leek, what I call a base. And this is what a lot of the meals that we put together can come from. So when you're packaging meals, you can put them into, now I have vacuum packed this, but you don't have to have a food saver. You can just use Ziploc baggies. And I usually, what I do is put it in a Ziploc baggie and then vacuum pack it. Now that might seem like overkill, but it's going to be keeping it safe and crispy for, a good number of years. Then you can also take and put them all together in a packaged meal. So this is an example of a lunch, and we're going to be making some of the, not to eat, but putting together the bean, vegetable, and noodle main course that's in here, which is basically the same thing that's here. And then there's the pulled pork in there. And then also for a snack, there's some almonds. And you could also throw in for a meal something like some dried fruit or some like trail mix, things like that. Then when you have all these individual meal packets, and this could be just in a large baggie, you can get, for organizational purposes, one of these 2-gallon and put 3 meals plus snacks in it, and it's ready to go. All right, thank you for joining us. And for our next video, we're going to demonstrate how to put together 3 different of these packaged meals from pre-made ingredients. If you enjoyed the video, leave us a like, and there will be links down in the description. So please join us again.